the philosophy, and if I had to put one word down under ethics, I would put selfishness or egoism. Now, when we get to ethics, we must follow our basis. Epistemology tells us we have to get knowledge by reason, and therefore that applies to every field, including ethics, and therefore ethics can't be based on whim, on my feeling or your feeling or society's feeling or God's feeling if there was one. The battle today, of course, is God gave revelations, one side says, and the other says no, society sets ethics, and we say both are wrong. Both of those are a form of not recognizing that reality is objective and reason is objective, and therefore when we come to ethics, we have to ask, what in reality gives rise to ethics? It's not anybody's arbitrary say-so. What makes ethics necessary? And Ayn Rand's answer is the fact that man is a living being who has to act in a certain way in order to keep himself alive. Now you might say, isn't that true of animals too? Yes, certainly, but animals don't need ethics because they have no choice, no free will. They're automatically programmed to support themselves and keep themselves alive. Man is not, as witness the state of the world. He can commit suicide, murder, and all-purpose mayhem. So if he is to remain alive, he has got to have man's life as his standard and then figure out all of the means objectively required by the nature of reality in order to achieve this goal. Which leads us to the question, well then, how does man achieve man's life? What is the basic virtue according to objectivism? Virtue means the kind of action in virtue of which you achieve your values. That's the old initial meaning of virtue. It doesn't mean for objectivism chastity and poverty. And the fundamental virtue we hold is rationality, the use of your intelligence, the full use of your mind in thinking and understanding. We hold that man survives by the use of reason. Reason is not at all a side issue for chess players or professors detached from life. It's a vital, practical necessity. It was required to make the earliest tools, to grow the earliest crops. Everything that we have that keeps us alive, medicine, modern technology, you name it, is a product of man's ability to think. And all our disasters and failures through the years is a product of errors which were anti-reason, errors or individuals. Therefore, for objectivism, the primary virtue is rationality. And that leads to a whole further series, justified not as ends in themselves, but on the grounds that they are required if you are to achieve man's life. For instance, independence is a crucial virtue. Using your mind to come to conclusions on the basis of your own best judgment, as against being an authoritarian and just mouthing what the authorities around you say. Obviously, that is a corollary or result of rationality, because if you don't think independently, you're really not thinking. You're just copying what other people say. Similarly, integrity, acting according to what you think, is a crucial virtue. Otherwise, why think it if you're not going to act on it? Productivity, using your mind to create physical wealth, is a crucial value. Otherwise, mankind cannot survive. And there are many other such virtues. Who is to be the beneficiary of all of your behavior? Is it somebody in another dimension? No, there's just one reality. Is it society? No, there are only individuals, and each individual has this same choice, life or not. And which choice confronts you? Your life or not. So you, according to objectivism, are to be the beneficiary of your actions. That means an ethics of rational self-interest. Each man lives by his own mind and for his own sake, neither sacrificing himself to others nor others to himself. Now we're given the choice as it stands today. You're an altruist, you sacrifice yourself for others, and a selfish person is supposed to be somebody who sacrifices others for himself. Cut my throat for you or cut your throat for me. We regard this as a false alternative and reject both sides. We're against throat cutting. We believe that you achieve on your own. If you want something for someone, you offer a trade, and you trade value for value to mutual benefit by mutual consent. And if you practice this type of value, or this type of ethics, you will never have to worry about should I be moral or should I be practical. Now that whole dichotomy comes from defining ethics as self-sacrifice and then finding that you can't live by it. So you've got to be moral and practical. You're constantly torn, which most people regard as self-evident. But according to objectivism, there is no such dichotomy. Since moral is what preserves and enhances life, it's definitely practical. And the only way to be practical is to be moral.